What is going on YouTube? It's your boy JoedaFlamin here, and I'm here to bring you guys our National Competitive Pokemon League, our draft analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I haven't done a draft analysis in a while, so please bear with me. It has been a while since I've done one of them before, so I hope that I do good at this one. But as you guys see, we got the overlay. It was made by Grandmaster D-Ray and OG Albina, and I think Liv had something to do with it. But just being a part of this season, guys, it is a huge honor. I'll just say it straight up. As you guys know, we did make it to the semifinals in the NCP SummerSlam, beating guys like Sally Mumble and John Jr. and Matt O'Shea, and they have been some of the best people I've met in this community, guys. I'll just say it straight up there. But let's get into the draft analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to show you guys what our team looks like. Now, we had the 14th pick in the draft, which, ironically enough, guys, is my favorite number. Number 14 has been my favorite number ever since I was a little kid. Because my father used to be like a... Well, I mean, he was. He had a stable, and he raced thoroughbred horses. Not successfully, I should mention. But just something about going to the downs with him and seeing the number 14 horse and that maroon strap that they have the number on and that golden number, it just looked so clean, if you know what I mean, guys. It just looks so nice. So when they showed that I was 14th in the draft, my mind was just like, oh boy, that was great. Because you're right at the end of the first round, so you can get a decent mon, but then you're right back there for the second round, and boom, you can get a quick one. So for our first overall pick, we actually went with a very good and a very fast mon. We went with... I'm sorry, it's just being a little problematic there. There we go. It was Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko was our first pick in the NCP draft. Now, this thing can be a physical attacker. It can be a special attacker. It can be a wall. But two of the biggest things is that it negates dragon types. Oh, and something there on there. But it can negate dragon type moves, and it can do super effective damage against dragon types, but that electric surge is very huge of an ability in case my opponent might have sleep out there. So to have electric surge in the background, and with a later pick you guys will see, because I'll be honest, this whole team was picked with the assistance of Aquarius. You guys have probably heard of her in the Draft League community. She is a hell of a competitor. And ironically enough, she's our week 1 opponent, so you guys will see that battle go live next Friday. But she pretty much helped us pick this whole team, so she actually recommended a mon that we did manage to select later that can actually take advantage of Tapu Koko's Electric Surge. But then we went around to round 2, and I'll be honest, guys, I've liked this mon for a while, and another one of our friends, JV, his mascot Victini, this thing, for a base 100 mon around the board, it can do anything. I mean, access to Bold Strike, access to Blue Flare, access to Glaciate, access to V-Create, access to Searing Strike, access to Fusion Bolt, access to Fusion Flare, access to Size Shock, access to Psychic, access to Shadow Ball, Scorching Sands, Energy Ball. This thing is incredible. No wonder it's Jay's mascot. But I figured, let me get Victini, get a Fire type out of the way, and also a Psychic type, because, I mean, Fire Psychic can be a really good effective pairing, and I'll just say it straight up. I'm one of the few people in that minority that believes that of the Kalos starters, Delphox is the second best. I'll just say it straight up. I'll take the flag if you guys want, but Delphox is second best to me. Greninja is, you know, tier of itself, tier of its own, but Delphox, then Chestnut. I never really got into Chestnut, I'll be honest with you guys. But then we had to wait around for round 3, ladies and gentlemen, and it took us a little bit of time, took us a little bit of waiting, but we managed to get a really good mon, a really solid mon, in Dragonite. Now, Dragonite, with the multi-scale, it guarantees at least one hit that, at full health, you know, it won't take as much damage, so we can get off a Dragon Dance, maybe, or if we want to get something else out there, maybe like a Thunder Wave off. I mean, Dragonite can be a utility mon, it can be a sweeper. It can do all kinds of things, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just say it straight up. But, I mean, having Dragonite on the board was really critical for us. And just being able to have it is really, really fun because it's much like Victini. Like, it gets coverage. I mean, it can take it... I mean, if it roosted or gravity is in effect, then it also does take advantage of Coco's electric surge and then gets the electric boost. But, I mean, it can get coverage across the board, and I'm really excited to use it, guys. And then in round 4, we decided, let's go for something a little... As you guys can see, we went 2 grounds and we went in air. We're going back to the ground in round 4. And we went with Nidoqueen. Now, Nidoqueen, sheer force plus life orb. Need I say more? Need I say more on Nidoqueen? But I might have a couple of hidden abilities in the background for it, or hidden tactics that I'm not going to reveal in the draft analysis. But Nidoqueen is a very strong mon. I will just say it straight up, guys. And I'm looking forward to using it again. I consider this a good value pick for round 4 to get something like that, especially with Nidoking, I believe, going in round or in late round 2 or early round 3, if I remember correctly. I'm gonna have to double check on that. But now we get into round 5, ladies and gentlemen, and this is where I was alluding to with Tapu Koko, because Aquarius brought this out to me. Apparently, Vikavolt, despite having Levitate, does get... Well, actually, no. She said even though Vikavolt gets Levitate, Vikavolt gets access to Rising Voltage, which is double damage in electric terrain, and then the stab on top of it. So a Rising Voltage from this thing is probably going to hit like a cannon. And on top of that, Webs Control, Defog ability, Bug Buzz, Giga Drain, Energy Ball, Air Slashes, and I think this thing also gets Dual Wing Beat, but I could be wrong on that one. So it'll be very interesting to see how Vikavolt is now. I know Matt's used Vikavolt to massive success, and I just hope to follow in his footsteps with Vikavolt. But as you can see, we got, you know, a good solid core in terms of, like, type composition, but we're missing, and I know, like, some people have talked about, you know, getting the generic Grass, Fire, Water combo, and ironically enough, our next 2 picks took after Fire, so we got Grass first with Virizion, and Virizion's a really good mon, very underrated. I know the Grass fighting 4 times weakness throws a lot of people off, but this thing can be really, really effective in the right setting. So, I mean, being able to get Virizion and then with Justified, maxing out as a physical attack as it gets hit by Dark-type moves. I mean, it can be a special attacker, it can be a physical attacker, it's fast, I think it's base 108 if I'm not mistaken. And then also, like, being able to be immune to powders and spore moves, which is also really good. So in case my opponent has one of those moves, I could potentially switch into Virizion and have a way to prevent that from happening. But yeah, Virizion I'm really looking forward to using. But after Virizion, we get our water type. And this one, I forget if it was Kurt or if it was Owen who got mad. I'm gonna have to double check a lot of things in this draft analysis and like the channel with it. But one of them wanted Tentacruel badly. And when I picked it, I'm pretty sure there were some F-bombs thrown in the chat. I'm pretty sure there were some F-bombs. But Tentacruel is a monster, guys. It can be bulky, it gets knockoff, it gets rapid spin, it gets toxic spikes, it gets scald, ice beam, sludge wave, giga drain, the liquid ooze if there's a opponent out there with like drain punch or something like that, so it's taking damage to they're recovering. And it's very bulky, surprisingly enough. So to have a bulky water type that's also that has a coverage in the poison type is very effective. And I've used Tentacruel before, and it's worked very well. Probably will name it Nazi again, or McNott's face. If you see this and you give me permission, you got the nickname again. But then round 8 came around, and I was like, I'm needing a dark type here. What's a good dark type that I can get? And I actually ended up going with Pangoro, because Pangoro I've used in the past before. That knockoff is really powerful, but access to all of the punch moves, and getting that Iron Fist ability, Mold Breaker is there, too, in case, Mimikyu is in front of us, or a Levitate Mon. I could hit a super effective Levitate Mon with, like a ground type move or something like that, and then Scrappy if I wanted to put this in front of a ghost type. and hit it with a fighting type move, especially like a Spirit Tomb or Sableye, even though Sableye has Prankster, so probably wouldn't be smart to put it in front of a Sableye. But yeah, I mean, to get Pangoro is very interesting, to say the least. And then I have a feeling that Scrappy, guys, I'm just going to put it out there right now. That ability in Gen 9, now that Hisuian Zoroark is available, is most likely going to be hella broken. Or at least a guaranteed pick if your opponent takes Hisuian Zoroark. But then round 9 came around and I was like, I want to get an Ice type too. I wanted to get a good late Ice type that can clean up. And I ended up going with Frostlass. I mean, Frostlass is a really powerful mon. It's very strong. Base 80 on both sides, but the base 110 speed is very, 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 very useful. So, I mean, I've got a lot of fast mons and, a couple of slow mons right now. But Frostlass, I mean, the fact that this thing is a base equal in attacks is very effective because I don't have to just be limited to a special attack set. I can run a physical attack set. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what I can do with Frostlass this time around. Then round 10 came around and I'm like, okay, I'm getting low on points here. I'm looking at what I could get with my remaining points. And I was able to get Porygon Z. And Porygon Z, ladies and gentlemen, we know how powerful this mon is. PZ with adaptability, a tri-attack will take out, well, do a good chunk of damage on anything that doesn't resist it. Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, gets all kinds of coverage moves, guys, and it's just really strong. And then finally, I had 2 points left. I remember this. I had 2 points left, and I was, just for the hell of it, I was like, I've never used one of these mons before, so I had flipped a coin. I flipped my my Callaway ball marker because I am a golfer. And I'm not very good at golf, and I'll just admit that straight up, that I'm not very good at golf. But I decided, let me flip a coin, but then as I'm looking at them, I'm like, wait, this mon gets that move and that coverage? And I'm like, let me try it. And I tried it with Solrock, ladies and gentlemen. So, Solrock is the end of the team. I mean, chances are I might never use Solrock. But there might be a matchup out there where it's favorable, ladies and gentlemen. I don't really know. But I'm looking forward to seeing how this team works. Guys, like I said, next week, the Week 1 battle goes live against Aquarius. We're looking forward to that game. We are going to do our best against her because it's our first time battling against her. I look forward to seeing you guys there. Let me know what you think of the team composition in the comments down below about what you think I could have done better, what you think I could probably work around. And I will see you guys for the next battle on the 9th of... Oh, wait, no, not the 9th. The 8th. So I will see you guys then. Goodbye.